Hello everybody, I'm Neil Culliner. You may have seen my video back around the October time frame when I brought my new FX-3 home from CubCrafters, having flown it across country, leaving Hood River, Oregon to where I'm based now in the Richmond, Virginia area. I'm getting ready to actually stop flying for a bit. I'm going to do a couple-month trip in my motorhome, stopping at Oshkosh and heading out west to just explore a little bit. So this is kind of end of the first chapter for me. I'm going to go do some flying here soon. It's a really nice day here, Saturday, June 25th, I believe this is. Yep. So gorgeous day here, going to go do some flying, but what I wanted to do is just offer some tips of what I've done the past 7-8 months of flying since I brought my new plane home. A little background on myself. Some of you probably know I'm a former Air Force A-10 guy. Did pretty much every level of accomplishment in the Air Force. I was a fighter weapons school grad. So not only did I teach new people to fly A-10s, new pilots to the A-10s, but also taught instructors how to be instructors for the A-10s. Was also a flight evaluator or examiner, as you call it in the civilian world, for a bit of time as well. So I've got a lot of experience with instruction, but I really, what it really comes down to is those of us that are instructors, whether military or civilian, we have a passion for helping others, teaching others. So that's what I want to share today, is just some of the training that I've done to help myself get acquainted to this new airplane. So you know my background as an A-10 guy. Then I stopped flying for a number of years. Really nothing compared to flying fighters in the Air Force. But when I started seeing the backcountry videos, really rekindled my passion, and I decided to give it a try. Quite an impulse purchase, if you will. And so here we are today. As AOPA's Richard McSpadden recently published in an article, one of the AOPA magazines recently, train like you fight is what we call it in the Air Force or the military. Well, the same thing with backcountry. Train before you go to the backcountry. Just don't go to the backcountry. You don't just go into combat, you train first. You don't just go into the backcountry, you train first. So what I want to do is go over some steps of what I've done for myself to train, because when you get home with your new plane, the first thing you want to do is go do all the things you've seen on YouTube. You want to go out in the backcountry and go all these short fields and whatnot. And sadly, the accident rate is high. We're paying a fortune for insurance, as everybody knows. And there's multiple reasons for that. But let's try to minimize the accident rate, and hopefully this video will help some. When you get your new airplane, and my only experience is CubCrafters. This is my first aircraft I've ever owned, hopefully the only aircraft I ever owned. But it's probably a little different from what I've seen. I watch a lot of YouTube stuff. I don't watch TV, I just watch YouTube in my interest. But it seems like other aircraft manufacturers, you'll get an acceptance flight. So you'll fly an hour in your plane before you actually sign for it, take delivery. That's not how it works with CubCrafters. Your plane is delivered to you, you sign for it, you're handed the keys, and then you're off. Now most of our insurances probably are going to require at least 1 hour dual in type. I know mine did with Star. So how do you get that dual? That's a challenge, and I really wish that it would really help the accident situation with the CubCrafters aircraft, at least if you got an hour with an instructor, which is also part of your acceptance flight. But getting training in experimental, much less the FX-3, is extremely limited and extremely hard to do. As far as I know, there's only one outfit that does it. It's extremely expensive. It's over 10 grand. I did it. It's with TAC Aero. They were down in Texas. I think now it's all back at Hood River. But back in the Air Force world, we train for everything before we do anything. So we do ground school. You learn the systems of the airplane before you ever get in the airplane. And we had sims and whatnot. you're on your own to learn this airplane before you get in this airplane. So you make sure you get the POH, study it, learn from others, and get some knowledge and understand your airplane before you fly it. So the TAC Aero training was something I couldn't pass up regardless of the cost. I'm not going to be ignorant when I go fly an airplane of any type. I want to be studied up. I want to be as smart as I can on it. The TAC Aero training was a week long, 5 days of flying. I even asked for a night flight, so we started that process. It was good to get a night flight in the aircraft as well. Learning, basically you learn the fundamentals. Constant speed prop is new to me. And again, some of you probably have a lot more experience with what's on this airplane. You've flown constant speed prop, you've flown tail dragger, but a lot of you aren't. A lot of you are like me. You went and got a tail wheel endorsement, you bought an airplane, you took delivery of an airplane. So your experience in tail draggers, or the airplane that you just bought, may be 10 hours. I had about 10 hours for the tail wheel endorsement. I had 10 hours from the FX-3 training. It's very important to be smart before you get in your airplane, and that's going to help you be safe. Now, you can get training in your airplane, and a lot of people don't know this. I really wasn't educated about it, but Letter of Deviation Authority, or LODA, L-O-D-A. It's a simple form, really not much to it. Essentially, your aircraft type, your tail number, your N number, your registration number, and you email it in. And I think probably within 2 hours I had the email reply with the signed LODA. That means now you can do instruction in your experimental aircraft. So if you want to do either the TAC Aero training or with an instructor in your FX-3, for example, you can get your LODA. I don't even know that you had taken delivery on your aircraft yet. Get your LODA for the N number, and then you can do training. You can get an instructor to go with you. There are instructors out there. I know I went down to South Oaks Aerodrome in North Carolina, Charles Lewis, outstanding instructor, outstanding tail wheel training. As an instructor myself, an instructor of instructors, I can tell you, Charles did an outstanding job as an instructor, and I remember the great tips that he gave me. Highly recommend. But there's others out there, especially once you get your LODA. You can take your FX-3 there. I think there's a place north of me about an hour in the southwest of the DC area that also does tail wheel type training. But our resources for training are extremely limited, and that's kind of unfortunate. And it's unfortunate that we are not better trained or have ground school available, or an hour or two of instruction before you run off on your own with the airplane. Reach out to friends in the same aircraft type, and that's going to really help you learn. You've got somebody to ask questions. Now, it could be I've got a friend in a Carbon Cub SS. It's been a huge help to me. I've got my buddy Trent. He's got an FX-3. He's got a 2019. Been a huge help in multiple ways. One of those ways, which I was going to get to later in my discussion here, is I know when I got mine, I was a little timid and kind of afraid to fly it. You know, I learned of all the FX-3 accidents out there. Another Cub owner had done some research and researched all the FX-3 accidents and all the Carbon Cub SS accidents, and when you see that, it's frightening. That's why I'm here doing this video, to try to help prevent that. There's really not many videos or anything out there that I've been able to learn from, or anybody that has shared tips. Now, you've got Stoll pilot Kevin Quinn, and obviously Trent Palmer's out there, but Kevin Quinn does training, and he does some YouTube of the training, and you can pick up some of the tips from what he's teaching his students. So that's really great that the instructor's out there to share. I don't know of any other instructor that's out there sharing. So those of you instructors out there, tail wheel folks, now I take that back. There are tail wheel trainings or videos out there of some training for tail wheel flying. So that's out there, but I'm talking about Cubs and FX-3s and helping us learn to fly these safely and these big bush tires safely. So by having friends like with my buddy Trent, not only did he help me with questions I had, but I was able to observe how much he flew his. There's a lot of these planes that fly with very little time. They sell with very little time on them, and it's shocking. It's like, don't people fly these things? You know, you're lucky if, you know, I think the average hours on these things when they sell is in the low 100s, 120 hours, maybe not even 100 hours, and it's a 2019 or 2018, 60. People don't fly them. Are they afraid of them? I don't know. So what I suggest is make yourself fly. And if I didn't have Trent as a role model and influence for me to fly, because he flies his every week, at least once a week, which made me fly every week at least once a week. And I forced myself to fly once or twice a week minimum and get myself comfortable and get rid of the fears. There's always, you know, you always have to be aware, but you shouldn't be in fear of your airplane. So flying often will help you get proficient and overcome the fears of a lot of the stuff we hear out there. If there's one thing that you leave with today in helping you be safe in a plane like this, it's learning to fly slow. Slow, slow, slow. I had a hard time getting this plane slow. This plane likes to fly at 90 miles an hour or better. It just does not like to go slow. You got a big 83-inch prop, you got a constant speed, you got 186 horse, and it's always comfortable to have speed. You got maneuverability. Speed feels safe. Well, what you're going to need to do is realize how well this plane maneuvers slow and learn to fly it slow. You need to land it slow. If you land it even 10 miles an hour over your stall speed, you are asking for some trouble. You're really getting the ground loop potential with energy management and whatnot. I tell you, when I came across the country, it's kind of scary to think about some of my landings and how I was not comfortable being slow. My tack aero training, I was proficient in my exposure. I don't remember what my speeds were for landings, but I don't think I was landing at the speeds I'm landing now with about 120 hours in type. I forced myself to a training plan. Instead of going out and landing places, okay, I need to do slow flight. Obviously your stalls. Learn spot landings. Learn how to control your plane and land it where you intend to land it. Not just float it 1,000 feet down the runway. I went out to a field, Shenandoah Valley. I've got a video of. It was from April. And I landed halfway down the runway. And I shouldn't have done that. I should have touched down in the first quarter. So there's a lot of learning. There's still a lot. I've still got a lot to learn. But as I said, I'm getting ready to stop flying for a few months. I wanted to try to go over a few tips of what I've been doing and make yourself a training plan. Now EAA has a phase 1 fly-off plan, and I got that. I had that with me. My first 40 hours was not, you know, when I did the fly-off, it wasn't about, you know, the testing all the limits of the airplane and performance of the aircraft. It was about me learning the aircraft, getting proficient, being safe, breaking in the engine, learning the avionics, you know, the glass panel and autopilot. And so make yourself a training plan. A part of that training plan is obviously your slow flight. Part of that training plan is understanding and using every system. You've got autopilot in it, make yourself use it. Make yourself take off, climb out, use the automation, understand how it climbs, it automatically levels off, understand how it descends, understand how you're heading. Make yourself learn every system. Understand how to lean the engine properly. There's different discussions on that. Trent and I are currently in a discussion. I had a new FX-3 owner getting ready to take his plane, asked me a question about lean assist and leaning and lean of peak, which caused me to get back into some of the writing that using the lean assist on the G3X may not be a good idea according to Mike Bush and Savvy Aviation. It's too slow and it puts you in a bad, a vulnerable part of the engine that you should actually just manually lean and lean faster. Up for debate, I don't know, I'm not an expert on this. So learn your systems, learn your constant speed prop, break in your engine. Should be broken in by the time you get it home, but you know, the first 40, 60 hours, whatnot, you know, especially while you've got the mineral oil still in, up to 35 hours, you need to follow the break-in procedure. And make sure you understand the documents when you get your plane. Don't go out and fly right away. Go through the documents you get with your plane and understand it's got break-in procedure. If you got bearings and brakes, it should have been broken in, but there's also a break-in procedure for your brakes. Choose the right time to fly, all right? It's miserable in middle of the day. You got cumulus, white puppies up there. You're gonna get a lot of turbulence. Make it enjoyable. Fly in the morning, fly in the evening, until you're proficient, and those things don't matter as much, but make it fun. Ask questions and learn from others. All right, if you learn something, share it. If you have questions, ask it. There's Facebook groups, there's forums, there are places. So learn from others. Find a friend or two or whatever that has the same plane as yours, and build a relationship and share information, ask questions. I was lucky, Trent kind of sponsored me, if you will. We had sponsors in the Air Force. Every time we moved, permanent change of station, we always had a sponsor assigned to help you with the transition. I was very fortunate with Trent helping me with the learning process, and my friend Bob as well. You're going to learn maintenance. Now, I don't want to get into maintenance, or you know, I had questions about, all right, I'm a new aircraft owner, what do I need in my hangar? And maybe I'll go over that someday as to what you know, I'm a hoarder. I buy too much stuff. I've bought too much stuff, but I like to have my stuff. So from your first hangar, what goes in it, you're going to come up on oil changes. Last month I did my first condition inspection. That was quite a learning experience, much less where to get it done, and then learning what should be done, what was really done versus not done. And as a result, I recently got my FX-3 repairman certificate. It's really a backup. You know, I'm new to this. I really, you know, have somebody that's an expert do inspections, but finding those experts in your aircraft can be difficult. So that's a whole nother topic. Getting the FX-3 repairman certificate was not a difficult process. Essentially, go to your local FSDO. They'll send you a form to fill out. I had to do a Zoom interview, essentially just proving I'm me. It wasn't a skill assessment. Had to send my build log, proving it's me, driver's license, etc., and that was it. So, without drawing this out, again, I just hope that I can help prevent an accident out there, prevent a ground loop. And also, if you have any questions, I've had a lot of people from my videos reach out to me asking about my build, the build process, any opinions on anything. Happy to help out. But fly slow, get your new plane, learn how to fly it slow, get up there and fly 70 miles an hour, get up there and fly 60 miles an hour. When you come in for landing, pay attention to your instructor on speeds. I do 65 on base, 55 on final, slow it down to touchdown around 38 in the FX-3. All right, I like to have a little energy for maneuvering, birds and whatnot. I don't come in on any tones. And I'm not an expert. You know, I'm no expert in this airplane. Go to your experts. Go to your trusted people. So I hope this helps. LODA, if you want to get training, and if I remember, I'll put the link to the form in the description of this video, so you can do training, develop your friend network. Don't be afraid to ask questions. Training. Know your aircraft. All right, fly safe, and we'll see you when I get back from my motorhome. I'm going to do some RV travel, and hopefully I'll see some of y'all at Oshkosh. All right, take care.